prayed for rain. We want to see you after. I love the story of Tony Evans. He's a very successful minister for many, many years. And he tells a story of how he was always terrified, uncomfortable around elevators. And he said especially those high-rise ones. He said it didn't seem natural that all these people gather in and they get in a box. And they're in the box and they're all in there together and they go up 11, 12, so many floors. So his worst fear, as like Reverend Richard was saying, came upon him. One time he was in a high-rise building going up in the 11th floor, and the elevator stuck between floors. I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you. I did in Paris. It's not really fun. But anyway, he said it was so interesting because to watch the people when it stuck between the two floors, some people started banging on the wall and started yelling, like somebody could hear them. And some people started yelling at each other, right? And other people were pushing to get to the front, like they were going to go somewhere. And he said, so in that moment, in the stillness, in his own faith, he was guided to go over to the wall, open the box, pick up the phone, and simply call someone, and they tended to the situation. Right? He said, but isn't that interesting how in life often we get stuck? We get stuck. And rather than pick up the inner phone and call God and say, Creator, I know you've sent this for a reason. Right now I don't know the reason, but I want to have the faith that it's going to reveal itself to me. But most people, when they get stuck, and I've certainly been one of those people, when you feel stuck, you start either talking louder or pushing life of somewhere because you just want to get out of the reality that you feel stuck. Yes? Anybody relate? I've still got time to change it. Got a couple of hands over there. Yes. And so when you feel stuck, and what is your approach? And how can you eliminate it altogether? But just to have the awareness, I feel stuck. The greater truth of me is that I'm never stuck because I live with the creative intelligence of the universe and all will be well. Yes. But we want to remember that when we have those feelings, not to forget our tools, not forget the things that we have learned. This past week, we had a wonderful service here. I would say it goes on record as being our best Easter service. And Reverend Serena now, she's here today, and she did a jam-up 6:45 Easter sunrise service, you see. And in that, we all made these inner vows to ourselves, didn't we? We made this conscious choice to say, I'm resurrecting with all of that old. I'm going to let go of some of those habits. I'm going to give up some of those fears. I'm going to stop looking for something wrong with my husband or my wife or my best person. I'm going to grow up a little bit. I'm going to rise above some things. We all made those kind of promises to ourselves. But it's very interesting energetically often in our humanity what can happen when we make a statement and we step up that big. It's interesting what wants to come and take us over because all of a sudden we want to be reminded in what ways we're stuck. Does anybody relate? And so on this path, you have to realize that everything you said about your life, your family, your career, and everything else come rise above Easter time is that it was gifted to you energetically from Spirit. And if you weren't destined and designed to live it out, you wouldn't have been given it in the first place. Spirit is bright enough to give it to the people that are going to move with it. You understand that? They wouldn't go, well, I'm going to give it to her. She's not going to do a thing. Just sit over there on the sideline. No, I'm not going to give it to him because he's just talks and no walking. No. Spirit says, you are the one I have chosen. And I picked you because I know that you have everything within you to live this out. So in looking at the practicalities in our humanity, I thought it might be good to visit some material that always helps me. Richard Carlson lived to be 45 years old. His book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, oh, by the way, it all is. It's all small stuff. Has sold over 25 million copies, right? And for 2 years, it was on the New York Times bestselling list. Phenomenal book. I had the pleasure to be one of the instructors that he approved to represent the material when he was still alive. And let me tell you why. You want to know why I was chosen as an instructor? Thank you. I was chosen as an instructor because of all the people in the rooms where I taught. I'm the one that needed it the most. You understand that? You understand that, right? You think with your children it's about them? No, they're here to heal you. Excuse me? I'm going to stick with my subject because I'm already getting some looks. You know, now that you have on the mask, I can really see your eyes. I'm just saying. So anyway, let me get back on topic. Don't sweat the small stuff. Oh, by the way, it's all small stuff. You can recognize this when you have someone in your life that has gone through like a diagnosis or a life-threatening situation, or when people have gone through a lot of tragedy or the love of their life has left them, or whatever it was that was significant. You can almost pick those people out of a crowd. They don't sweat small stuff. They have entered into another vibration. From pain to feeling stuck to being free. And they don't have that emotional Velcro that allows things to stick to them and to just stick. And they don't keep on with that same conversation that becomes 2 weeks old, that after a while starts to smell. They don't hang on to that. They may say, I'm processing this, but tomorrow is a brand new day, or this moment is a brand new moment. You understand? Because we want to remember something that often we need to remind ourselves of, and that is we have free will and choice. And nothing is being done unto you unless you have allowed it to happen and you have accepted that call. Right? You are not people being done unto. I am not a person being done unto. Say that with me. In the South, it sounds good English. I am not a person being done unto. No, I am not. I am not. And so it's that awareness, because when you look at any time you feel tense and you're starting to feel stuck, I guarantee you with 99.9%, you are focusing on something that you can absolutely do nothing about. Everybody breathe? You're focusing on something that you have no control over. You didn't cause it. You can't cure it. You can't control it. Has no power over you. You want to bring your energetic focus in alignment to focusing on what you can do something about, what you have control over. Richard Carlson would say that it was amazing, that with a divorce rate of 60%, what's even more surprising is of the people that get divorced, that 60%. And I get that. I'm not judging. Anyway, I won't go there. I'll save my story for another time. Anyway, in that, more people get divorced the second time, right? And in that awareness, what he was saying as a therapist and working with couples is what couples do is they wait till they're in a bad mood. Anybody here ever had a bad mood? They wait till they're in a bad mood, and then they just want to go at each other. And then that's when they want to talk about all the things that isn't working in their lives. And they bring it to the table. Oh, well, let me tell you, 2 years ago when you did that, that really upset me. You're like, you're kidding. So you want to learn how to work with your own psychology, that moods come and go. Moods come and go, whether it's astrology, whether it's what you've had chemically in your body, whatever it is, moods come and go. And you want to remember not to make any major decisions when you are in one of your special moods and you feel stuck. That is not the time. That is why with COVID, in many ways, it was a blessing that it lasted as long as it did, because in the early phase, there was resistance, right? There was, can you believe it? There were all of us wanting to be the future predictors of it's only going to last 3 months. How many of you said that? We weren't correct. I'm just saying. But in that space, finally, people relax into it. They relaxed into it, and then they started having new awarenesses. People started relocating. People started changing their lives. People started bringing dreams back. 91-year-old people got married. I mean, it did a lot, right, to a lot of people because they were no longer living in, I feel stuck. I'm sweating small stuff. No. They surpassed that time and time and time again. The other aspect that we do often in our spirituality is because we have been trained about our minds, work with your mind, think about how you think, we can sometimes get too much into, we call it paralysis analysis. We analyze things. We can take a story and just beat it to death about, well, I don't know. The last time I talked to her, I thought she was okay and she wasn't mad at me. But then, well, I don't know. Maybe that's why she got off the phone so fast. Well, I don't really know. Well, she said she's calling me back the next day, but she never really did. I wonder if it was the tone or something that I did. Go on and on and on. I was on a plane one time, and the flight attendant came by me and just breezed through everybody else and walked up right to me like I had picked him, and came right up to me and he went, "Ma'am, you got to have your suitcase all the way under your seat." And went, he did it on his own. I said, "Okay." In a little while, he came back. "I have said you got to put them under that seat." Well, here I go. What in the world? Do I remind him of his mother or his great aunt, or is it the color I'm wearing, or what is it with him? It's something about my hair? I don't know. What did I... Blah, 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 blah. And he came up by the aisle, and I went, "Thank you for doing your job. It must not be easy." He gave me the biggest smile. He was so kind. His story wasn't mine. His story wasn't mine. Half the stories that you have made your stories have absolutely nothing to do with you. They're not your story to embrace, to feel, to witness, to make your own. They're not. But if you make them your story, they become your story, and you feel stuck. And often we have felt stuck in our lives because we're not living our own truth, right, Sister Gail? We're not living our own truth. When you're not living your truth, you can feel stuck. So the question is, what is it about me that is not living to the totality of the truth to my understanding? Yes? Is this flowing for you? It's to me, it's the most simplistic of material that we continue to remind ourselves of. Often, it's the simple material that people overlook because humanity is convinced often that in order to make progress, something must be complicated, and it's not supposed to be complicated. Right? Not with the love and energy and the power of what we can do in our lives and the power of God. I want to get to that percentage that we've never touched yet, don't you? I want to live in that realm of potentiality and possibility. And that would be where you tap into your creative genius. Go on YouTube and look up Gay Hendricks. He is an expert in the field for Fortune 50 companies as well as Fortune 500. He has worked with athletes, performers, everyone, you name it, many, many years. He said he's been doing it for 40 years. But he teaches people how to get into their creative genius. People that are coming from that place do not live from a place of I'm stuck. When they feel stuck, they open up because they know creation is trying to happen. Like birthing something. Ask my mother. She was in labor with me for 48 hours. Something is trying to be birthed, you see. So when you feel that energy of that high-rise elevator in your life, you want to stop and don't fight it. Don't fight it. Say, something creatively is longing to be born within me. And what would that look like? And you can tell when you are in your creative energy and you're in creative genius because your energy goes up. Do you know that feeling? Your energy goes up. You get excited. Things look animated. You have an energetic feeling. There's a joy. You can hear it in your voice. You can feel it in your space. And we want to learn how to measure when we're in that space or we're not in that space. And you can test yourself. You can have somebody do muscle testing. When you are in that creative genius, you are in that strong vibration. When you get into woes and woos and, I can't believe it still hasn't happened and my grandson still has that, and you start getting into all these things that you're making about you, your energy just zaps down. It's important that Easter is not picking out a nice outfit and a one-time-a-year event. It's every day. What within me wants to rise above. What within me wants to resurrect. What within me wants to overcome. You see? That's what I'm talking about. God's brought out all the props today. Yeah! Let's write that one down. In Matthew 7:7, it says to ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be given to you. But notice, and the door will open, right? But you got to knock. You got to knock. Just like that elevator, you got to call on that phone. You got to knock. You're going to go, here I am. Here I am, Lord. Here I am, Lord. I'm going in a different direction this time. Just show me, open that path, lay it before me, give me that presence. The best medicine, always, in between what used to be and what can be, is silence. Give yourself the medicine of silence, quiet, breath, being outdoors. In Florida, not right now, but otherwise, be outdoors, nature, get back to the space within your space that you can hear you. Often we hear so many things, but are we hearing us? Do you hear you? That is the richness. And at the end of this life into reincarnating another life, you don't want to miss you. It's like when I work with some of the ministerial students now, I go, I want to hear about you. I don't want to hear about your children and the other 12 things in your life and your company. I want to hear about you. You don't want the end of your life when they play the review tape or the video or whatever they're doing by then. You don't want them to show everybody but you. You want it to be your life, your moment, your space. I'll close with a story about 30 years ago. An African missionary brought some ministers, pastors from Africa, to Houston. And she already knew that it was going to be a little overwhelming in a big city, right? But she also wanted him to experience shopping and being in the city. And so she said, now here's the thing, if you become afraid, if you feel stuck, you don't know where you are, look at the streets or the avenues and then call me and I'll come pick you up. And so there you go. So they get concerned, they feel lost, they look and they call her up. And she said, I'll be there right away to get you. What street or avenue you're at? And the guy said, I am between walk and don't walk. I am between walk and don't walk. Some of you may be there today. Some of you may find yourself in that space this moment, between walk and don't walk. It's a space. But I guarantee you, if you will own the space, and you will love the space, and you will honor you in this space, the glory of God and the presence of all that you can imagine will flow through you in the creative destiny in which you so rightfully belong with your own consciousness. Thank you for being here. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you.